I think that's where good science communication comes in handy, and I think that's where science sometimes gets it wrong. Kind of like I said before, I do have a fairly blue collar family, so there's some times where I'm working in the lab, and then I'll drive over at 7 at night to go help my uncle on the farm, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's a funny juxtaposition going from talking to my supervisor to talking to my uncle, right? I love my uncle, I love him, and I love that stuff, but he's hating all this, why they need diesel exhaust fluid in their gas tanks and
Yeah.
everything.
Clean diesel, like an
Yeah,
oxymoron. Yeah.
he's pissed, right? And it's funny to be involved in two of those worlds, but sometimes I often catch myself thinking, how do you connect, this group of people to this group of people? They're on such far extremes, right? And I don't think both of their realities are wrong, but I think what you said before, um, like you almost need a certain level of education to understand that. I do agree, but I think it's also the onus is on scientists to communicate that in a way that's understandable to everybody. And I think that's where we kind of got some stuff wrong with COVID too. I think there's a good video of Dr. Mike. I think you've
Yeah.
seen that guy online, right?
Yeah.
He communicates science in a great way because he communicates science using a medium where people are at, right? He uses Instagram, he uses TikTok, he breaks things down. He doesn't use complicated words. I look at his videos, I know what he's talking about. I know he's omitting a lot of things, but he's explaining things very simply. And I think that's where scientists get it wrong is we sometimes don't have the ability to communicate that just to an average everyday person. So, me and my scientist training right now in my PhD, I'm constantly trying to practice. Okay, like I'm writing my thesis right now. I'm being very technical. I'm being conscientious of my supervisors reading this, but the next day I'm doing a podcast with you, or I'm explaining something to my girlfriend, right? So I'm
Yeah.
trying to bridge both of those gaps. So I think there's a lot of the onus is on scientists to try to communicate a little bit more simply. I think.
Yeah. And I think like people like you are the conduit for that, right? Because like you are sort of living in both worlds, right? Again, you said like your blue collar family, right? So you kind of know the the demographic that you need to reach.
Yeah.
And like you lived with them, you are them, right? So
Yeah.
you kind of understand how to change that language into, a digestible,
Mm-hmm.
an understanding way, right, to these people. Because like yeah, like someone could be a really good researcher, someone could be a really good clinician,
Yeah.
like, but they could, like, we all know those people that are super smart,
Yeah.
but like you put them in any sort of public speaking domain and
Yeah.
they're like
I know.
like,
Yeah.
right.
That's a lot of
And
people I work
then
with.
the
Yeah.
worst part about that is you have people that are really bad critical thinkers and really bad at, understanding science, or whether it's willfully ignorant or they just literally don't have the media literacy and
Mm-hmm.
digital literacy to do it, but they're really good speakers.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the battle, like, I guess we're facing on the internet right now,
Totally. Yeah.
is that you have people that are really good at debating,
Yeah.
right? But they're actually not very knowledgeable, or they're what do you call it? Charlatans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they can say things really, really convincing. And like this is one thing that I know somewhere online that I've heard. I think probably Sam Harris said it. Um, he's like, a person can spew out 100 lies in a minute, right? But it would take you like sometimes an hour, depending how complicated the thing is,
Yeah.
to to address one of those lies.
There's somebody in the White House doing that pretty good
Right?
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
Just spread and deflect. Yeah.
like knowledge and like I guess truth is always going to be in a handicap. Like it's always
Yeah.
going to be like harder to explain because like science, like life, biology, chemistry, like all these crazy things that people are arguing about are complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes a lot of effort to
Yeah.
communicate the truth, because at a surface level you could say something and it could make sense logically with the knowledge you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then people don't have the attention span, or they just want to stick with what they know,
Yeah.
and they don't listen to the details,
Yeah.
which could